Hello everyone and welcome to Newly Dangerous Commanders. This video is just for you. Today we're going to go over some of the basics of Elite Dangerous. When you first start up the game, you're going to find yourself in a situation like this, just a different port. This just means that you are currently docked. You start the game docked in your normal starting ship. Your normal starting ship is a Sidewinder. Sidewinders aren't too special. Sidewinders are basically, the standard vessel that everyone gets here. This is a rented ship. This one isn't because I bought it especially for this video, but normally your Sidewinder is a Faulcon DeLacy Sidewinder that has been rented to you. Don't worry, you're not going to pay anything for the thing. There's no cost attached to this thing whatsoever. If you break it completely, as in you explode, you just have no cost whatsoever. At least as far as I know, it's a completely free replacement. So. But we'll come to your ship later. What we first need to look at is starport services. Starport services are the most important part of Elite Dangerous, next to the flying. This is the interface that does everything. It is your commodities market, mission board, passenger lounge, contacts, universal cartographics, crew lounge, livery, outfitting, shipyard, and maintenance hub. You can even see some of the GalaxyNet news announcements down there. These are specific for the station you're in right now. So, this station is in the system G8313. That means you're going to get news for this system. As you can see, there's like newspapers and reports. These can help you if you want to go a bit more in-depth into helping a system that you have taken a liking to. But first, we'll have to talk about two things here, which you are going to see right now. You won't have that much money. That is my current money amount for just normal gameplay. I don't have the money to get a second account to just show you what it's like to have a new one. It was 1,000 to 10,000 credits, if I recall correctly, which you are going to most likely not spent immediately, because the Sidewinder you get is actually fairly normally equipped, which we're going to look at right now. This is your current ship. This is a Faulcon DeLacy Sidewinder. Sidewinders are basically, well, they are the starting ship. They can do most things, but they don't excel in anything. They are fairly small, so you can land on every station. They don't have too many weapon hardpoints, so you aren't too offensive, and they are fairly fragile. But what you can do with these is basically everything else. They are fairly quick. The jump range isn't too good, because, it's a small ship and it barely has a frameshift drive anyway. But you can do small cargo holds, and you can do the most important thing you're probably going to do at the start, which is just deliveries of like messages, basically what I would say. They don't require any cargo, so yeah, you can just take those on anywhere, anytime. You start with two pulse lasers. They actually gimbaled now, which is a change, because first they started with fixed lasers. Apparently now they start with gimbal lasers. That is good for you. It makes aiming at your enemies a slight bit easier, even though these small lasers aren't going to get you very far anyway. You have utility mounts. Utility mounts are used for things like shield boosters and shaft launchers. As you can see here, kill warrant scanners, for example, actually scan your enemy if he's wanted. You might get more money out of him that way. Manifest scanners are basically cargo scanners. Wake scanners are mostly unimportant if you don't do really high value stuff. You're not going to do that in the Sidewinder. You're probably not even going to do a lot of bounty hunting in the Sidewinder, because this is really not a fighting ship. It isn't at least too much of a fighting ship. It is fairly maneuverable, which is one of its main points. It is actually a fairly nimble craft, but you're mostly going to use that for escaping people if they interdict you if you do your missions. But anyway, let's go to the core internals of this thing. You start with a lightweight alloy bulkhead, which basically means this thing is what would basically be space aluminum. There's almost no actual armor on this thing. You can change these to reinforced alloys and military grade, but that's all later and I wouldn't waste my money too much on the Sidewinder. You're not going to fly the Sidewinder too long, hopefully. Just, if you can, there's two things you should upgrade. The power plant, but don't upgrade it too much. Just enough so you can actually fit a better frameshift drive. Let's see. You're probably going to go for a 2D or 2C at this point. If you go for a 2D, it's slightly lighter, which means you have a slightly better jump range. The D-rate components are almost always lighter than all of their competitors, but they don't really have any good performance increase. You can use D parts for things like life support and sensors. You don't really need them in A grade. Otherwise, A grade is probably the best you can do on everything else, if you can get it. But yeah, you're not going to change much in the Sidewinder. If we change anything, we're going to come with that for a second video, probably about the Eagle, because the Eagle is the second best thing you can get after this. If you don't want to do large cargo hauling, we're also going to come to that at some point. But let's go to the optional internals. The optional internals are things like shield generators, cargo racks, your discovery scanner, your planetary approach suit, which helps you and basically enables you to land on planets, and you have other things like hull reinforcement, you have module reinforcement, you have fuel scoops if you want to fly further distances, you also have fuel tanks if you just want to hold more fuel. And there's lots more things. There's collection limpets for loot and all that. We're all going to come to that later if we need them. Right now on the Sidewinder, I would actually suggest not changing anything for now. You only have limited money, and you're going to need that limited money. Also, livery, or livery, however you want to pronounce it. That is basically just a skin for your craft, decals. You can apply ship kits, you can apply weapon color modifiers. Those are all things that you have to buy with real money, but they are fairly cheap. But I don't have anything like a paint job for a Sidewinder, only decals. As you can see, these are decals. They appear on your ship and they basically just make it a bit more yours. Let's go with the Hudson logo for this one. You can also get bobbleheads for your dashboard. So this is like a Viper Mark III model. Ship kits. I don't have the ship kit for the Sidewinder, so I can't show you that. I don't really fly the Sidewinder anyway, so yeah. I wouldn't waste my money on the ship kit for the Sidewinder. If you really love the Sidewinder for some reason. I mean, it's not a bad thing, honestly. If you really know how to fight, you can probably make a surprising ship out of this. Like, nobody's going to expect the Sidewinder to be especially potent. But otherwise, you should probably avoid like the ship kit for the Sidewinder. But anyway, what should you do first if you are in the Sidewinder and want to make money? You head to the mission board. The mission board is basically what you think it is. It gives you the missions that you need to do to basically make money. Don't be alarmed that most of these missions are probably not open for you. That is normal. They are either reputation locked or you require cargo space. The Sidewinder starts with 4 cargo space, so that means you can probably only take really small amounts of cargo with you. Like, some cargo missions fit into this, some don't. What we are looking for whatsoever is boom data deliveries. Or data deliveries. Just whatsoever you can get that's delivery of data. These are going to be your starting missions. They're easy to do, they don't require any fighting, they don't require any cargo space. The only thing you need for these is the ability to frameshift drive, or frameshift jump as we can call it, and to land. Anything else is not necessary for boom data deliveries. You take them by just pressing on them. I have a setup here with a joystick and a stick, so for me that is just the trigger. And you just accept them. We'll take these 2 on, so you can actually see a bit more than just that. You can see other things like Massacre, Freedom Party ships. These are going to be risky, at least risky, in a Sidewinder. If you don't know how to fight very well, you shouldn't take these on. I know that some people might be a bit disappointed that you can't outright fight. You can outright fight. It's just going to be very, very, very dangerous for a starter to fight in a Sidewinder. Sidewinders are not pure combat vessels. You can even see that if you just encounter another Sidewinder. While they are fairly agile, their weaponry is very weak, their shields aren't great, and the hull isn't good. So most of them just disintegrate as soon as they try to fight anything that is higher than them. Sidewinders for players should mostly be used as cargo ships with like very small cargo capacity. You can also upgrade that a bit, so it's like 6 cargo at most, I think, if you still have a shield in it. Which is tons, so you handle cargo in tons here. Or you just make it a bit more fast by giving it better thrusters, better frameshift drive, so you can make these data deliveries a bit faster. Otherwise, you should probably wait for other things to get your Sidewinder into, or just wait until you can afford a better ship. But anyway, we have taken on 3 data delivery missions. So, what do we do now? Well, you of course have to know where to go now. For that, you go into your left menu. This is your navigation menu. The navigation menu has, as you can see, navigation, your transactions, contacts, sub-targets and inventory. Important for us right now is the transactions window. The transactions window has your contracts and your claims. If you have a bounty somewhere that you can claim, because you killed a wanted vehicle, you can claim these claims here. For example, this is a 100 credit bounty in L Confederation. That's a system that I killed somebody in, but I didn't actually get the claim yet. You can see these here, so you can orient yourself where you need to go to get your claims. There's also stations that enable you to get all your claims, but they take 25% off the claims. So it is always better, if you want to have all the money, to fly to these stations. It's most of the time worth the fuel cost to actually get to them. Otherwise, if you don't look out for the money and just want to have these gone, you can just try to get to one of those stations. That gives all of the claims. But anyway, claims are something that we get to when we get into bounty hunting. You're going to have them most of the time in bounty hunting. Let's see. The first mission here is of course one of our boom data deliveries. They're going to just select that, and you can see the details. Deliver data to Vola landing in the Lawson system. The data is stored in your computer and it doesn't require any cargo space. You can see, for example, on the left is your reward and credits. For this one it's 21,600. And your material rewards. Now you may think, material rewards sounds a lot like it's going to take up cargo space. Not always. There is material that does not take up cargo space. And to see those, we go to the right. This is your status menu. The status menu shows everything that you can imagine in statistics. At least for this one, you can see like the system status, your own status and reputation, your permits and all that. That is all important later if you want to farm reputation for the 3 major factions. Well, for the 2 major factions that you can farm reputation for right now. Here's your modules. These list all of the modules in your ship. It's fairly easy. It's just everything that is in your ship is listed here. What kind of power it actually needs, what type it is, and what its health is. It's pretty easy stuff. You can instantly check, for example, if your thrusters get damaged, how damaged are they? Pretty easy. You can also repair them here if you have the materials for it. This is the fire group system. Fire groups basically means all your active components on the ship, like chaff launchers and your weaponry and scanners, are listed here and can be assigned to one of 2 fire buttons right now. You of course get multiple fire groups which you can switch per button. You have to look in your controls menu for that and can set it yourself. And this is the inventory. And you'll immediately see 5 different categories of inventory. Ship cargo is what's in your cargo hold. Currently, there's nothing. As we just established, we didn't actually take on any cargo missions, so we have no cargo on the ship. Materials are what we get for that mission I just mentioned. These are materials that are just stored in your ship. You have things like carbon, chromium, processors, distilleries. These are basically used for engineer and crafting stuff. Engineers are people who can actually upgrade your ship beyond its, well, best modules. You're going to want to actually have these all the time. You just want to farm most of these per missions. They are actually very interesting to have and very good to have later. And I just pressed the wrong button, but yeah, that happens. I'm still getting used to this. Data. Basically the same as materials, but you get these most of the time through scanning people, which is just targeting them and letting your scanner run. Synthesis is crafting. It's basically just crafting with the materials and data you have. So it's things like plasma munitions and explosives, so you do a little bit more damage. Or you can actually refill your automatic field repair kit, I think that's called, which repairs your ship. And cabins is if you have passenger cabins. We don't currently have passenger cabins. I think they don't appear until later with one of the bigger ships. And the last window here is functions. These are just miscellaneous functions of your ship. They show your ship and your jump range. The jump range is the most important thing that you can actually see here, because you're actually going to want to see how far you can actually jump. But anyway, that's enough of that menu. The other menus are self-explanatory. Upper left is a chat window, upper right is general information about your surroundings, and of course, below you, you see all that your ship is. Your hull integrity, your shield integrity. To the right, you see your fuel. If you are mass locked, which means that you are either in the vicinity of a planet or a big station. Your landing gear, which is of course right now out because we actually are landed. And your cargo scoop, which enables you to get cargo in space if it's flying around. Left to that is the pips for your ship basically. Ship energy can be configured so that you have more energy on the engines, which means you go faster. And you can imagine the rest for like the weapons fire more, and the shields load faster. On the left we see general information where we are. And to the right of that, you just see something, the general thing you have targeted right now, which is, in our case, Agnesi City, the station I'm currently parked at. Anyway, how do we actually get to this boom data delivery? Well, it's actually pretty easy. You open the galaxy map through this tab, which gets you to this. This is a galaxy map. The galaxy map shows you everywhere you can go to. That is basically how I would describe it. What you have here is a selection of, you just select the target, which would work, but it doesn't give you just the path to it. You could plot a route. Plotting a route like this would be fine. It would get you to the target system, although it wouldn't get you to the target station. This does just bookmark the location. Bookmarking the location puts it into this tab where you can quickly access it. And we just move this thing a bit. This is the important part, system map. If you go into this, sorry, you get this view. This shows you the entire system. In this case, this is a fairly small system. It has a sun, it has 2 asteroid belts, 2 planets, and 2 stations. 2 of these stations are where we want to go. For this mission, we are going to want to go to Vola Landing. And you have the same general things as you had before. You can select this. Does work kinda, but you still have to find your own route. You can plot a route, which we are going to do. And you can bookmark a location if you want to. You can do that with stations you really like, so you can actually know how to get to them quicker. But anyway, we now plotted the route to our station that we need to go to. You can see that we actually have the route here. This is our location right now. And down there is our target. This seems like it's at least 2 to 3 jumps. Let's see. It's 3 jumps to Lawson. Okay. We now have our coordination set, we know where to go, and we have our route plotted, which means that the ship computer is going to tell you in which systems you have to jump. So let's launch. Launching basically just means you want to leave the station. You get a time limit on leaving the station. which is something you should probably just try to hold. Okay, we go up. Retract the landing gear. And if you don't want to get into trouble, stay under 100. If you crash into anything while you are over 100, you're going to get a fine. If you are more experienced and want to just fly out of here, that is also possible. You're not breaking the law just by going over 100. Only if something happens while going over 100, you are going to get into trouble. Anyway, we are out of the station now, so we'll just fly and point ourselves towards our destination. Our first target is this system. Thank you, I just need to be interrupted. This is our current target. It is one of the targets on our route that we need to get to. So, you could do two things here. You can go into Super Cruise, which is basically the quick way to get around in the system. Getting around in the system is not what we want right now, though. What we want right now is we want to get to a different system. That means we activate the hyperdrive.
Frameshift drive charging.
This charges the frameshift drive, and after a few seconds, you're going to get basically just accelerated to the new system. There's some general information about the system here that you can see. Low security means almost no police. If you are attacked here by somebody who's interdicting you, police will come after a long time. In high security systems, they are almost instantly there. Oh crap. Well, it had to happen. So what you just saw there was a neutron star. They are actually pretty dangerous, I have to say. If you go near those, you're going to get into a lot of trouble. Try to avoid them. That is basically all I can say towards these. Just try to avoid them. Also, if you get something like new astronomical objects, just fire up your directional scanner. It helps you just get a bit of a map in this area. But yeah, if you think you're far away enough from the sun, reactivate your frameshift drive. We need to do at least, I think, one more jump after this one to get to our destination. And as you can see, every frameshift drive jump takes fuel out of our fuel reserves. You don't start with much fuel on the Sidewinder, so watch out for that. You're going to need to look at your fuel, otherwise you're going to get stranded. If you get stranded, your choice is basically just try to somehow find somebody to get you some fuel, or your life support system is going to kill you in a few minutes. If you die in the starting Sidewinder, it's not a big deal. It happens. Even the guys in the biggest ships that you can possibly imagine in this game die from time to time. Death is a normal thing in Elite Dangerous. It happens all the time. So don't be ashamed or something, or don't feel bad if you died in this game. I died a lot when I started this game. It's just normal in here.
Frameshift drive charging.
But yeah, we are approaching Lausanne now, which is our target system. And in this target system, we can actually show you the Super Cruise a bit more.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
And I know what you're probably also thinking. I didn't even show you really how to start and land and everything. If you want to know how to do these things, please direct yourself to the tutorials given to you by the game itself. They are excellent at telling you how to use the controls in the game. Far better than I could ever be. But yeah, right now we are in Super Cruise. Super Cruise means that we are going at a speed which makes it easier for us to traverse the system we are currently in. We can even see our target right there, Polar Landing, but we are overshooting right now because, of course, we didn't actually slow down or even approach it correctly. What you want to do if you approach a station, you go up, just basically, you go with your throttle to the lowest point that is blue. That is basically what I would call it. there's always a blue, well, part of your acceleration. That is going to enable you to perfectly approach a station. It basically means that at this point, if you do it close enough, or, well, not close enough, fast enough, you are probably going to just slow down enough to have a perfect approach on the station. So now you just want to direct yourself at the station. We need to get a bit of a curve because it's behind the planet. And you just want to approach the station carefully. This can take some time. Getting into a station always takes a bit of time. It's going to be a lot less after some time because you're just going to feel like it's a quick thing in this game. Even though it might feel pretty long. But yeah, you can see on the left our distance and speed. If both of these are in the blue, you can safely approach the station. By which I mean you press the Super Cruise button. This is going to safely disengage you from Super Cruise and is going to drop you right in front of the station. It might not drop you at the entrance of the station. You're always going to need to find the entrance of the station. But anyway, we need to, of course, land at the station to finish our mission right now. So you go to the left menu, go to Contacts, and select Roller Landing, and request docking permission.
Approved for access. Please land on pad 34.
So they gave us docking permission for landing pad 34. Now you need to approach the entrance of the station. Just basically try your best to get lined up with the entrance of the station. You will need to counter turn your vehicle a bit because the stations do turn. But yeah, just slow down to 100 to be safe, especially if other vehicles are also trying to get in. And just slowly but surely enter the station. You're then going to need to find your landing pad. They are always denominated by big numbers over them. For example, our landing pad 34 is right in the back of the station. So, approach your landing pad. Deploy your landing gear. You should go down to about 50 with the landing gear out.
Landing gear deployed.
And then you slowly approach your landing pad until you see this. Basically, this is the interface for landing. And you just need to get into the middle of it, which you are right now, until the thing lights up blue, and go down. That means you just landed. You don't need to be in the exact center. The exact center helps, but it doesn't need to be exactly there. The landing pad self-corrects you if you just aren't in the correct center. But yeah, we are now in roller landing. Roller landing is our first goal. The first thing we want to do is refuel. Refueling costs a bit, but not too much in the Sidewinder. Your fuel tank is pretty small, so you're not going to spend a lot of money on fuel. But anyway, let's give it that mission we got. Let's go to the mission board. And we instantly see our boom data delivery. People you have a mission with that you have to turn in here have this exclamation mark within a circle next to the amount of missions they can give you. That means you have something to turn in here. So let's claim our reward for this one.
Incoming message.
And there you get basically just, you completed your mission, here's what you got in rewards, here's what you got for reputation. You get basically reputation for every single mission you do. It depends on what kind of, well, how would you call it? Faction you do them for and what party you do them for. But you're probably going to get into that a bit more if you just want to farm something. Right now it's fairly useless for us. But yeah, we did that. So now we can actually leave this one. We get a bit of money from that, so you might actually be interested to now outfit your Sidewinder with something. So let's say right now I would have about 25,000 credits because of that mission. You might have less after your first mission. It varies on how your reputation with the faction and the party is. Yeah, let's say, you know, I feel that this thing is just a bit too slow. So you go to power plant, you get a 2D power plant. This is going to give you a bit more power, and you're going to want to exchange that. Let's say, because of course here's no thrusters in stock, so you can't buy thrusters. Let's say you want to have your jump range a bit higher. Well, okay then, let's get a frameshift drive. You can see down there that even the 2D frameshift drive is going to increase your jump range quite a bit. So we get this one. And now our ship can jump slightly faster, or slightly better at least. We might also get a power distributor, because that makes this jump range just a little bit tad better. Always upgrade the power distributor if you have the money for it. It is quite nice to have, they are mostly inexpensive and they work very nicely. And let's say because our current fuel is a bit low, let's say we want to get... what could we get? They don't have fuel tanks, so maybe we want to get a fuel scoop. So we can refuel on the go. You can also see down there that every single thing you can mount except for hull reinforcements and module reinforcements needs energy. You will need to somehow balance your ship's energy supply if you don't want to just completely go without power at some point. But yeah, right now with the Sidewinder we have a lot of energy free because we don't have a giant shield or anything. Okay, we now have a fuel scoop, we slightly upgraded the jump range, and we have more missions to do. So, let's get to the next one. Same as before, choose your mission, go to the galaxy map, go to the system map. For this one it's in the same system, which brings us into inter-system travel. For this you can't plot routes. Routes only work if it's in a different system. So you select your target, we get out of the galaxy map, and we launch. Right now you can see that Ivachenkov hangar is selected. That is not the station we are of course currently at, that is the station we need to get to. So how do we do that? First, of course, you leave the station.
Landing gear retracted.
Clear the landing pad. Regulate speed until outside the exclusion.
And I'm going to do something that you shouldn't do yet, just to show you what it's like. This is how you quick exit. Quick exiting can be dangerous in stations with lots of people flying around. But okay, you can see that here
Scan detected.
our hyperdrive, so our frameshift drive doesn't work.
All clear.
Because of course there's no frameshift drive target. What we need to do now is go into super cruise as soon as we're not mass locked. There we go.
Frameshift drive charging.
As you can see, there's disruptive mass right here, which makes the frameshift drive a bit slower.
3, 2, 1, engage.
But now we are in super cruise. Super cruise accelerates your ship far beyond what you normally have. It is inter-system travel. That is basically how you can just describe it. It is there for inter-system travel, so it doesn't take ages to get from station to station. As you can see, like it says it takes 20 hours, but that's because we are close to a planet. If you're close to something like a planet, you're going to slow down. That is basically it. That means it's a mass that is affecting your speed. As soon as you get away from the planet, you're going to speed up considerably. But yeah, right now we're just going to Ivachenkov hangar. Same system travel is not something you're going to do a lot, except if you want to search for something in a specific station that's not in the station you're currently at. Most of these missions are not going to be in the same system if you give them in. You're probably going to get quite a few systems. approach to those is exactly the same as I just showed you before. Just open the galaxy map, go to... sorry, something is wrong with my throat today. Go to the system that you want to go to, or need to go to for your mission, and plot a route to the station you want to go to. Okay, we are approaching this actually. Oh no, we are not actually close enough for it yet. You're going to want to be just around the station, 200 light seconds at least, if you want to go down to blue speed, as I call it, which is basically approach speed. So you go to approach speed, and keep your direction roughly in the station parameter. You're going to have to adjust quite a bit. You're not going to completely go 100% on the target. You're going in some way over, under, left or right to it. It's just inevitable. So just fly to the station, and what I would just say for this part is, if you're playing this and have something like this, just put on a podcast or some music, or actually maybe Radio Sidewinder. Radio Sidewinder is an excellent source of music for Elite Dangerous. They also have voiced news clips from the Galaxy Net and everything. It's a pretty nice radio thing. It is free, you can get it when you just Google Radio Sidewinder, it should be the first link. And it's a pretty nice thing. It just works in, I think, Winamp, or if you have something like IEMP, or anything like that that plays music and can play web radios. But it's a nice thing to enhance the immersion of this game a bit. But yeah, this is what you're going to do for quite some time at the start. You're probably going to do boom data deliveries, or very small amount cargo deliveries. Actually, we just got something in the scanner. Let's see. If you see that, always fire up the directional scanner. And there we got a few targets. That plays into the exploration part of Elite Dangerous, which is something you're probably going to get into when you get to the real exploration ships. Right now, we're just going over the basics of how you can earn your first few amounts of credits. So this is different. This is a station, or it's an outpost, most people would call it.
Docking request granted.
These don't take every single type of ship. Large ships can actually stop here. Only medium and small. Medium and small are things like Sidewinders and Federal Assault ships, which you're going to see later. But they are different in, you know, how could you say it? In the big stations, you actually do land inside of them. In these, you land on them. This can be a bit tricky. The design isn't the best ever. As in, you can see our landing pad is actually hidden behind this big part of station interior. So you have to kinda just choose your way around it. Just be a bit careful with it. Deploy your landing gear as always. Drop down to 50. Oh, and we overshot a bit, but that's not bad. Just, of course, go a bit backwards a bit. And go down.
Docking successful. Engines disengaged.
As you can see, that it took a bit of fuel to get here, but not too much. You probably don't even need to refuel, honestly, but I just like to do it. It's just, at this point, it's a habit. And we'll just turn in this quest as well. Or mission, or however you want to call them. Just call them what you want. It's the same as always. You get your mission thing at the end. And, for example, this would be an amazing mission for a starter. It is 4 units, which you can actually completely just have in the Sidewinder. And it gives a lot of money. But the thing with these missions and also data deliveries is you can get interdicted. They can get actual hostile ships on you. In that case, it's probably best to try and just fly away, just run away in the Sidewinder, rather than fight, because this thing, as I said, is not the best fighter ever. But it basically works like data deliveries, so we are not going to show this. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this small look into Elite Dangerous. I'm actually going to do more of these things if you want to see more of them. This is just an experimental thing, because, well, I kind of got back into Elite Dangerous lately, and I wanted to show you what it's like to start in Elite Dangerous. While this isn't the perfect representation of it, because I don't have a second game, I hope this kinda showed you how the start of Elite Dangerous goes. But anyway, if you liked it, please leave a like, consider subscribing. I hope you have a beautiful day, and goodbye.